So when Vata is imbalanced, the predominant mental state that drives us will be fear. So that correlates with a lot of things we use in yoga therapy, including the home of Vata being in the pelvis and sort of the root chakra and Mula Bandha, right? All sort of being correlated with that. So we do a lot of work with getting that pelvic floor open and free, and then probably more importantly, or as importantly, getting the and also strong, and then also, you know, in a more energetic way, pranic way, getting a sort of sense for the bottom of the body and the way the prana and apana move, and having that move properly. But when it's not going well, there's fear, and fear stops us from doing what we need to do, you know, from a yoga point of view to progress, from a yoga therapy point of view to heal, but it gets in our way. But the upside, when Vata is really sort of humming, as I like to look at it, or you know, it's going well, Vata-wise, what you get is, you know, Vata is less dense than the other doshas. So Kapha is really hard to move, and Pitta moves, but not as much as Vata. Vata's sort of nature is movement. So what you get is the sort of ability to see things more clearly and to change. So to move through stuff. And so interestingly with that, you know, Vata helps us do that when it's balanced. And one way to look at that would be that balanced Vata helps Kapha kind of progress. So, or get balanced or move. So often we're trying to move stuck Kapha, and that's the most simple and probably the clearest way to think about it. But what you'll see a lot working clinically is that you get, you know, a sort of depressed, stuck, Kaphic conditions, and you'll also need to balance Vata. And you hear this over and over, you also think about Vata. But this is why, because Vata balanced is what allows us to change. So it's not just that the Kapha is sort of stuck or too dense or imbalanced, but that Vata, right, balanced Vata allows us mentally, right, and energetically to move forward. So that's the upside. So people who are really Vata balanced, and of course, Vata is the hardest one to balance, because it's not as stable. And that's why there's so many yoga practices concerned with stabilizing and balancing Vata, because really without that, you're not going to make a lot of progress. So that's why moving and breathing, that's why all these pranayama techniques that all have like Vata implications are so important to yogis, because they allow us to see clearly and like realize our potential. And the inverse of that would be they allow us to not be afraid to change in positive ways. So fear crops up, whether change is positive, perceived as positive or negative, right? Even when something is the right thing to do, we will often find ourselves slightly afraid of doing it. You know, in the more kind of spiritual / new age circles, you know, you might hear like, you know, stepping into your own power. And that's Vata, right? That's imbalanced Vata. And the more balanced Vata is, the more easily we're able to do that. So that includes spiritual progress, that includes, you know, progress in our life, you know, in all different ways. And that also includes health progress, because we won't be able to do what we need to do without Vata being balanced. So that was a really good question. Like, what is this balanced Vata? So it's not just a lack of fear, because I often speak like that. So I thought I'd sort of correct that a little. It's not just a lack of fear, right? It's a clarity, right, that allows